I am creating a new empty C++ project. I will name it my project. It is the parent project for my plugin. I will create a plugin inside of this project. Because I cannot create a standalone plugin, it needs to be created inside of a project. I am creating a new empty level. This will be easier to render than the one with a landscape. I will use this level to test my plugin in the final stage. I will also set it to be my default level in the project settings. In Maps and Models, I will set this level to be default. To create a new plugin, I will open the Plugin section. There is the Add button in the top left corner. I will be selecting blank for a new plugin. For the plugin name, I will type Simple Web Server. Unreal has created a new plugin for me and I can close the Plugins section. I will look for the plugin inside of my project. There it is, Simple Web Server plugin. Next, I need to create a directory for my third-party library and add its build script, which I leave empty for now. I also want to ensure that the Unreal Engine created a build script for my plugin. And I also want to see the plugin directories. This is the build script, which is inside the source folder created by the Unreal Engine. If I want to load this project in my IDE for the first time, I will go to any of the C++ classes and double-click on it. The Unreal Engine will start my IDE, which I have configured in the Unreal Engine. It will start Visual Studio or Rider. I am using Rider. It will take some time for it to load. Rider is loading the solution for the first time. It will take a couple of minutes. I do not need a suggested plugin. I prefer to work without it, but you may install it. While my IDE is doing something in the background, I need to wait for it to finish. This is the plugin build script. I will be adding third-party dependency here. And for the parent project, this is its build script. I will be adding the plugin in here. I will be testing my plugin in the parent project as well. I will be creating a third-party folder inside of the plugin source folder, where I will keep the libraries which I already built in the header file. This is the standard directory structure for third-party libraries. I will need a separate folder for my library. There could be more than one folder here. I will name it Simple Web Server Library. I am adding an empty build script, Simple Web Server Library CS. I will open it with a notepad so you can see that it's empty. I will also need two directories, include for header files and Win64 for libraries. I will copy files from Visual Studio C++ project into my new Simple Web Server Library directory. I am starting with include, which should contain SWS header file. From the release folder I am copying DLL and lib files into Win64 folder. Back to IDE, it does not see newly added build script file. I will close it. I will close the Unreal Editor as well. Right-click on the My Project file and select Generate Visual Studio Project Files. This will regenerate the solution. Now I can reopen IDE and ensure the third-party library and its build script are visible. I am waiting for Radar to finish synchronizing. And now there is the third-party library and its build script. I will be writing this build script next. I am copy-pasting this code from the tutorials. I will go over it to explain. Those lines are standard. The external module means I am using already built libraries. This line includes headers from the include folder where my SWS header file is. I can simply include in code my SWS header without specifying its full path. I am building for Windows 64-bit. I am adding a static library from module Win64 simple web server lib. Delay load DLL, copy pasted from tutorials. I think it is used when you want your DLLs to load in certain order. You will need DLL load handler inside of your plugin to load a library and then to unload it before shutdown. This works only for Windows and I will not be using a delay load. This line tells the plugin where to find this DLL. It has to be in the plugin root binaries folder, inside of Win64 folder. And the final line is my attempt to use DLL from where I originally copied it into, instead of $ nonsense above. But it does not work. I need to copy DLL into the plugin root binaries folder. I will be going through this copy-pasting routine quite a few times in this tutorial. Don't worry if you don't get it from the first time, you will get it later. I am copying DLL to this directory. This is plugin root binaries for Win64. Now it's time to include this library into the plugin build script itself. Scroll down the build script and add simple web server library into private dependency module names. If for some reason it will not compile for you, as it did not compile for me in the past, then please add projects dependency there as well. Right on top of simple web server library, add projects. I will show this in the end of this video. I will be copy-pasting code from tutorials into my plugin header and CPP files. I remember I added includes in the library build script. I do not need the full path here to get to the header. Click on it to go into the file. And then again to make sure it is still accessible. As per tutorial, I need to add this token to my module. I do not remember why, but it is needed. I will name it as my plugin name. I am defining a pretty print method which will call the pretty print method from the C++ library I built earlier. A lot of writer shortcuts help me to navigate the code. Control E is for recent files. For CPP file I will be pasting code again, from tutorials. Those two can be probably combined together, but in tutorials those were separated. I will keep it as is. I am using writer to generate a definition. This is the body of the method which will be calling the pretty print from the library. Click on it to go into SWS header where this method is defined, to make sure it will be called from the library. Library method returns standard string, but my method needs the Unreal type F string. I will be doing conversion from one type to another. And that's it. I can test this plugin method from the parent project. I am trying to build the solution first, to make sure it compiles. I am always building from writer, but you can build from Visual Studio or from Unreal Engine itself. I will quickly recap the changes. I have the third-party library build script which all the libraries defined. The plugin script includes the third-party library as a dependency, header and CPP files which call the method from the library. I am building with Unreal Editor closed, so it will not interfere with my build process. Build successful. To test I need to add an actor to the parent project, which is my project. And to add this actor I need to add it via Unreal Editor. I am starting Unreal Engine by clicking on the project file. In the C++ classes, I will add a new C++ class of type actor. The name does not matter, I will be deleting it later. Make sure it is created in my project and not in the plugin. The drop-down on the right needs to be my project. This drop-down will switch between the project and the plugin. Unreal is doing the compilation. I will need to switch it off as it interferes with IDE builds. For now, I will let it finish. I will show you 3 different ways you can compile the project, from Unreal, from IDE and by deleting a directory so the Unreal will compile it on start. This build has finished. Writer has my actor which I've just created. In the begin play, I need to get a pointer to my plugin. Then I will be able to call methods on it. However, this project does not yet know anything about the plugin. I need to add it first. I am typing simple web server into my project build script, under private dependencies. This is the plugin name. I will remove it to check that the header file will not be resolved and then add it back. The header is not resolved, but writer is great, it will offer to add this dependency to the project. I will not be doing this. I will manually add simple web server to the build script. Writer is doing something in the background, and when it's done, the header file should revolve. There, it's no longer red. And there is the test method which I will call. I am using shortcuts Ctrl E to go to the recent file. I will get a handle to the plugin and will call the pretty print method. I will do it in the begin play method. This line will get me the plugin pointer. It is named simple web server. I will be calling test pretty print method and display results on the screen. This code should be enough for the test. I am building the solution from writer. This is the first issue I encountered when started to work with Unreal Engine. This is because the Unreal editor is open and it has enable live coding. I need to turn it off. This is the compilation button. You can click it to compile your project. Next to it, the dropdown has enable live coding checkbox, which I will untick to disable this feature. And then it will compile from IDE. You can also disable it in the editor preferences. The checkbox is here. Now when I disable this feature, the solution will be built from writer. By the way, if you delete the binaries folder and rebuild the project on startup with Unreal Editor, the checkbox will be set. Don't forget to disable it if you want to compile it from IDE, Visual Studio or Writer. Here is another issue: it cannot find SWS header file. Include shorthand does not work. I need to define the full path. For CPP this is not a problem, probably because we already added the full path in the header file. I am building the project again. Build successful. Back to the Unreal Editor to test if the actor can display the pretty print message. I will be dragging my actor from the sources directly into the scene. Although it is not visible, I can see it was added on the right panel. And when I play it, I can see the message, "Hi from Awesome Class." This is my DLL message, it is coming from the libraries I created. This proves the libraries are linked to the plugin and the plugin is linked to the project. And I was able to verify it's all working as expected. Next, I will be adding a web server to my libraries in Visual Studio C++ project. And then the process repeats, updating libraries in the plugin and testing the plugin in this project.